everyone. My name is Jill Creelman, and today I'm here with Gigamon and Nokia to talk a little bit about an exciting 5G partnership that the two companies are announcing. So I'll kick it off, and first I will have Shane introduce himself from the Gigamon side.
Hey Jill, thanks so much and welcome everybody. My name is Shane Buckley. I'm the President and Chief Operating Officer of Gigamon. Gigamon is the market leader in visibility and analytics for hybrid cloud customers. We're delighted to be here today to talk about our new and exciting partnership with Nokia.
Thanks, Jill. Nice to be here. I'm Dennis Lorenzin. I'm heading a business unit called Network Cognitive Services at Nokia. And what that unit is actually doing is designing the networks and optimizing them for performance. Very glad to be here, joined with Gigamon to talk about our new solution that we bring to the market.
Great. Thank you both. So Shane, we'll start off with you. There's been a ton of conversation around 5G in the industry. Can you talk a little bit about the benefits that 5G is going to bring both to Gigamon customers, but also to mainstream consumers?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, obviously 5G is the fifth generation of mobile technologies. We are living in an increasingly mobile world. Obviously, massive density of devices for consumers on a global basis. People want to be able to work without being tethered to a single location. 5G couldn't come at a better time during the COVID pandemic, where companies are turned inside out. People are generally working from home. We're seeing a lot of challenges. Children working, typically being homeschooled, trying to connect over technologies like Zoom, like this very call we're working today. It's put a huge amount of pressure on infrastructure on a global basis. Fixed line networks are generally jammed with traffic for most of the business day, and obviously into the evenings as people turn to streaming for just for enjoyment, I guess, and fun. And also from a business perspective, people now connecting on Zoom and other similar technologies. It's just completely crammed those networks. So with that in mind, they're looking for better ways to do and deliver the job. They're looking for better return on investment and a lower total cost of ownership. And that's why specifically today our announcement with Nokia is so massively important.
Yeah, that's great. And Dennis, on the Nokia side, can you also talk a little bit, from your perspective about why 5G is so important right now and the types of benefits it's going to bring to your customers as well?
Shane was alluding a lot to the increased traffic and the ability to manage that at the right TCO point, total cost of ownership. There are other aspects like extreme low latency, which is brought by 5G, that is going to enable a series of new use cases. Think about gaming, think about mission critical applications, also for verticals for enterprises. This is all novel, actually, and this is all enabled by 5G. I fully agree with Shane. It comes really at the right point in time. It comes together with other, in a way, disruptive technologies. Think about full cloudification. Think about artificial intelligence. So the combination of the three is really going to change the society and the way we actually use the network and consume the traffic.
Mm-hmm. And Shane, as it relates directly to Gigamon's partnership with Nokia today, can you talk a little bit about this joint offering and some of the solutions that come with that?
Absolutely. So first off, Gigamon is the very first to provide this 5G subscriber awareness for visibility and analytics in the market. And secondly, the collaboration between Nokia and Gigamon is very important because we've created a unique joint solution actually, and that removes the need for these probes inside the network to gather information in a specific form factor and then send it on to smart intelligence tools like AVA. And so as part of the 5G deployment, Gigamon is being integrated more into the center of these large complex networks. As these 5G networks roll out, they will separate the control and user plane, oftentimes referred to as CUPs. And so we're integrated right into the center of the network, seeing all the traffic that goes across the infrastructure. And so the ability for us to actually pull the data out and create this video metadata that then is ingested by the Nokia predictive video analytics is really important, and it gives real-time analytics to Nokia to do some very exciting things for video. And as we know, video represents over 80% of the traffic on networks today, and that's expected to increase obviously in a 5G world because you'll have instant capacity as Dennis alluded to earlier, much lower latency, so therefore higher quality. And this video is not just for streaming, obviously, it will be used also for gaming and other application-intensive real-time traffic. So all in all, it's a very close partnership between Nokia and Gigamon. It's a way to deploy it in a much lower cost footprint because you're using the existing infrastructure of Gigamon to do all the heavy lifting and then passing all the process traffic off to Nokia AVA, which then does its job to deliver for the customer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and with the surge in video usage, like you guys have said today, I think this is more important than ever. And Dennis, on your side, how come Nokia chose to partner with Gigamon for this 5G solution?
And what we found with Gigamon is really a common intent. We are really driving together a future-leaning roadmap. We do it in a co-development fashion, thinking ahead of time, right? Thinking about the applications that will come towards us and being ready to cater for them. So I think the combination of technology expertise with the right partnership aptitude is really what we found with Gigamon. Very happy to be having this partnership indeed.
And back to you, Shane. Given the pandemic and the impacts across the world, what are some unique challenges that your customers are facing now, amid the pandemic and the remote workforce and this hybrid model we're probably going to be in for a while? What are some of those unique challenges and how is this going to help solve those challenges?
Yeah, great question. So Gigamon customers are spread from the leading enterprises. We have over 80% of the Fortune 100s as customers. We have 8 of the top 10 banks. We have a large percentage of governments. From a 5G perspective, the real strength here is ensuring that we build out a much higher capacity fabric, as we said, over 10 times the throughput that there exists today in the 4G LTE infrastructure. I think that's step number 1. But step number 2 is really being able to understand at the application level which applications are flowing across the network and to treat them in a different way. And that's why this step here with Nokia's AVA analytics is so important, because video traffic operates in a very, very different way than many other applications inside the network. It's obviously hugely latency sensitive. It can take much more capacity inside the network, and it is something which is becoming more and more viral as more and more users turn to different forms of business and also just residential or enjoyment video streaming, also gaming services, etc. So in the networks of tomorrow, these operators have to create a very flexible, very scalable fabric that's very secure, where they need to look at the applications flowing across all their networks and make some real-time decisions on all those applications in networks that are running in tens of terabits per second. It's a really, really hard thing to do. Actually, I think that Gigamon and Nokia, we do a really good job solving that problem.
And actually, I like the many examples that you're bringing, Shane. There's another point that you are hinting at, and it's the fact that what COVID taught us actually is that it's very difficult to predict the network behavior. I think we have seen it at a scale which is really inconceivable with COVID, with so large part of the world being homed actually, with changing patterns of usage, of course, a surge in the video that nobody could really predict. I have to say that our operators' customers have been building networks which are extremely resilient. We didn't have any massive outage, which is almost miraculous if you think about it. But of course, we have also been quite leaning towards accepting a lesser quality because of the emergency. That might not be the case going forward. But I think what we experience here is really probably a proxy, hopefully not with the same impact on society, or what is coming with 5G and different patterns of use.
How do you see the customer demand changing for 5G going forward, or maybe growing in a different way? Like any expectations there you could share?
No, absolutely. I mean, we discussed a lot about the expectation that we will see a shoot up in the data volumes. Of course, throughput requirements are going to be on the rise, low latency. So we are going to really sit on an enormous amount of data. If we thought that what we have experienced so far is enormous, what is coming is way, way bigger. And of course, the other element is what we just touched upon, right? The level of sophistication in the kind of use cases we are going to see around there. We talked about gaming. That's definitely one on the end user side. But we can talk about more mission critical applications, even without thinking about autonomous cars, which is maybe further down the line. But think about some manufacturing, right? If you are an enterprise, you have manufactured across the globe, you want to be served by a mobile network, you want that to work to SLA. You don't want any glitch, otherwise your production is in bad shape, right? Think about even more sophisticated applications like healthcare ones. There you really don't want to see any degradation in performance. All of that is going to actually put a pressure on the network performance, on the way the network behaves, and a lot of that pressure is unforeseeable. We don't really know how the networks are going to behave. You cannot really plan in advance. So a bit like Shane was alluding to, we need to have a methodology that allows us to cater for evolving needs with a very high dynamic. We need to be ready to do root cause analysis, which we now do on video for end users. Tomorrow we need to do it on video for mission critical application. And we need to solve the problems very fast. This is where the joint solution we are having with Gigamon is supporting. It's really an aid in that direction.
Mm-hmm. And Shane, to kind of wrap us up here, considering all of this, what is your advice for service providers who are looking to adopt or upgrade to 5G today?
There are a number of components to 5G that are important, including things like TLS 1.3 or securing the control plane inside the infrastructure. So the ability to decrypt the traffic at high speed, to understand what's going on and be able to send the right traffic to the right tools becomes very, very important. So building the visibility analytics into the fabric really is an important step one. Step two, as we mentioned earlier on, the average revenue per user in a 5G world is not that much higher than 4G. In fact, in some cases, it's exactly the same. Yet the provisioning costs have increased dramatically because these networks are much more complicated and they run at much higher data rates. And so having a better return on investment or a lowered total cost of ownership is really important to the operator. Leveraging technologies like Gigamon and Nokia is inherently critical to the operator because we do things much more efficiently inside the network and at scale than would have been done before with the traditional server approach, if you will. I think the third thing is, whilst we're talking about video and gaming, which are important, in even a post-5G world, there are unknown applications that will emerge in the lifespan of a 5G infrastructure, and the operators have to be able to respond to those. It's likely that these, if you look at the growth of applications like TikTok, these applications can grow out of nowhere like a weed and consume huge percentages of capacity within the operator's network. So it's very important these operators are application aware and they can respond predictably to unpredictable applications over unpredictable times. Because fundamentally, in a 5G and a post-pandemic world, we really don't know what we don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, thank you both. This was a really great conversation. And for any of our viewers today, if you're interested in learning more, you can visit gigamon.com and check out the link right after the video. Thank you.